getting near the end here. So, 2006. So there's two movies I did not talk about. One was not my fault because it's Wiki's fault because they did this weird split with the movies and not listing them all. Which we're starting to get into the era of streaming services releasing a lot more movies, so it's probably just getting confusing. But it left off Casino Royale in 2006, and I'm honestly on the fence. So the review that I heard, the first review that I heard from somebody that I knew that had seen Casino Royale, I asked what he thought about it, and he said, "Well, it was a really good movie, but it was a bad Bond movie." And I feel like that's still kind of true. So me and my wife, over 2 years, starting 2020, because everybody was watching movies. It took us about 2 years, and we went through all of the Bond movies in order. And man, there is a hard line between the last Brosnan movie and the first Daniel Craig movie, and it's because they kind of lose the fun. And so I actually still kind of hold to that view. Casino Royale is a good movie, but it's not a good Bond movie. Bond has lost the fun. And people are wondering what they're going to do now that Daniel Craig is definitely done, and they definitely want to keep making new Bond movies because they're usually, I mean, they at least turn a profit, which in Hollywood right now is a big deal. But I feel like it would so Bond kind of lost something with the fall of the Iron Curtain. And I feel like you kind of need that, like that go-to bad guy. And so I think it would actually be fun if they were to make more Bond movies, but set them in the 60s or the 70s, so that you have the Soviet Union and the Cold War and all of that, because it provided a great setting for spy movies. But I don't know if people do it. It'd be hard to do without parodying it, like inside of Austin Powers. But I think you could do it to where just have the fun. But going back to Casino Royale, I'm not sure if it's a must-see movie. It is really good, but it's one that I have seen at least 5 times, and there are things that I legitimately do not remember about it. So I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna say Casino Royale is not a must see movie. Another one, I'm going to stick by. It's not a must see movie, and that is Thank You for Smoking. That one I honestly just skipped over, and I apologize for that. But it does need to be talked about. It is a very good movie. It showed that Jason Reitman is a talented director and a decent writer. Which his father Ivan Reitman is one of those cult directors. His biggest thing by far was Ghostbusters. But he did a lot of those 80s comedies and a number of dramas in the 90s, I believe. But he's a very good director, and Jason Reitman showed himself that he was following in his father's footsteps with Thank You for Smoking, which is it is a very interesting movie philosophically. I think I'm talking myself into it. I didn't think it was a must-see movie, but now I'm kind of leaning that way. It is a it is a movie that gives you questions without answers, and it picks a very difficult topic of tobacco, and it says, look, and it honestly says there are good arguments on both sides, which, I mean, that's a hard topic to pick, to decide to show both sides of an argument, because we all agree, especially now that vaping is a big deal, that tobacco itself is bad because the smoke just is really toxic to your lungs from smoking cigarettes. But, you have a right to do what you want to do. And there's the famous argument of, tobacco companies are not interested in killing people because they make money while they're still alive. It's a really, yeah. I think I've talked myself into it. So 2006 now actually has 10, not 9 must-see movies. Which, is still a pretty steep drop-off from where we were in the 90s. But, yeah. All right, so Thank You for Smoking from 2006 is a must-see movie. And I will stick by that. But we're now in 2015. So let's see what happens. All right. This is America, so we'll see what happens. Why was Casino Royale left off of 2006, but Skyfall was still in 2000? What was that? 2013? Was that when Skyfall came out? I don't remember, but yeah, this is annoying, and I'm unhappy. Ooh. out of the gate. Paddington was a January movie? Okay. Alright, I will say Paddington is a must-see movie. It's delightful. Supposedly the director met with the cinematographer and said, I want to do for London what Amelie did for Paris. I want to show it as delightfully whimsical and colorful and happy. And they ran with that, and it is. It makes kids want to go to London, which I've always wanted to go to London. I actually am getting to go to London next month, or in September. I don't know when this will be posted. September 2023. My company that I work for is having an event, and I get to go to London. They're actually based in London, so they're flying their American employees. I'm so excited because I'm an Anglophile, and I want to go to the UK so bad because I love the literature and and music. I love Mahler. I love the British invasion. There's something about the history of England, and I really want to go there, and I'm very excited. But yeah, Paddington is a must-see movie. What is Let's Kill Ward's Wife? I hope Ward's wife isn't Amy Acker. I don't want people to try to kill Amy Acker. I love Amy Acker. Tom's wife. Okay, so Amy Acker is safe. Amy Acker has like a homeschool nerd's fantasy life. She was a acting teacher or an acting student at the college that the PBS show Wishbone got most of its cast from. So she was in Wishbone, and then from there she jumped off into working with Joss Whedon movies a lot, which I know he's fallen out of favor, but let's be honest, the stuff that he made has been huge for nerd culture. So she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she was in I think she was an Angel. She was a regular inside of Dollhouse, and she was his Beatrice inside of his version of Much Ado About Nothing. And it's just she she has a great life. And I really like her. I think she should be in more things. Amy Acker is a wonderful actress who does a great job of you just like her. You want her character to be happy. She has a very she's made more chick flicks. I feel like she would end up being the what is that actress's name? She's the sidekick in so many chick flicks. But I feel like Amy Acker would end up doing that, which is unfortunate because she's an underutilized actress. Hollywood, get on that. All right, we spent a lot of time in January at this point. Boy Next Door, Mordecai. I cannot in good conscience call Mordecai a good movie. I don't even remember Ewan McGregor being in that. It had some parts that made me and my wife just laugh out loud, but it's one of those that you only recommend to some people with a specific sense of humor. My mom would despise that movie. Jupiter Ascending, I've not seen that one. I hear it might be a must-see movie based on, like, so bad it's good, but I can't speak to that, and I have not seen too many arguments to that effect. 50 Shades of Grey, absolutely not. Okay, Kingsman, I have to count it for the same reason that I did Kung Fu Panda, which I describe them as essentially the same kind of movie where it's not a parody, but it is almost like a love letter where it's like, look, these are the things that are crazy about this genre, the spy movie genre, and we love it for it, and we love them for it. And so we're going to exaggerate it and make them a little funny, but we're also going to tell a serious story, and Kingsman just nails that razor's edge, and it is so good, and the action sequences are fantastic. Kingsman is a great movie, and I will stand by that. So moving on, The Duff. That's one I still see the cover. Like I when I was working at Blockbuster, just saw that all the time. Wait, I wasn't at Blockbuster this month. Why does that cover so familiar? Did it just keep coming up on Netflix over and over and over again? So it's not like I was going to movie rental places. Ooh, okay. So Cinderella, that that set off the dark ages that we're in of the Disney remakes of animated movies. But this one was good. Lily James is fantastic. I agree with the nostalgia critic that the ending is weak, but this one, this is the roadmap that they should have followed, because the weak point inside of this movie was the prince. And they took that and said, "Oh, wait, we talked about Maleficent. That one came out the year before." But the weak point in this one was the prince was not much of a character. And they fix that. They make him much more of a character. In fact, the relationship between Richard Madden and Derek Jacobi, who is the king, is one of the best parts of the movie. Their relationship is so good, and it feels so heartfelt. And so it actually took the Disney Cinderella story and fixed a problem that it had. And the visuals in it are great. There's some great jokes. Kenneth Branagh did a wonderful job. Lily James is fantastic. Kate Blanchett is Kate Blanchett. Helen Bonham Carter is great as her little, essentially just a cameo as the fairy godmother. My biggest complaint is is you think of it as a remake of the Disney one, and it cuts out the mice, and I love the mice. Jacques is one of the underappreciated heroes of the Disney animated movie, and I hate that they kind of cut him out a little bit. But it's a good movie, I would say, but it's not a must-see. I think it's a must-show in that your little girl should see it at some point if you have one. Like, if she's, as me and my wife were watching it, at this point we were not even, yeah, we weren't expecting our first kid yet. We had been married at this point we'd only been married for about 6 months. But she looked at me and said, "You do realize when we have a daughter, we need to show her. I'm excited to show her this movie because it's so magical, and I think any girl would love it." So if you have a daughter who's like 9 or 10 or under, you need to show her this movie. It's very sweet and just really apparently just touches girls' hearts, and it found a place in the little bit of little girl still left inside of my wife. But it's not a must-see. It's a specific... It's a must-show. Like, you should experience it with your kid. But if you're an adult and you haven't seen... I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, you need to get on that." It Follows. Okay, that one quickly became a must-see horror movie. It is considered by many to be one of the best horror movies made in, like, the last 20 years. So that one definitely goes on the list. So given the record we've got going so far, this is actually 2015 has 3 in March, and we're not even done with March. That's pretty good. Furious 7. Again, I don't think there are any must-see Fast and Furious movies. People say you need to watch the series, and I kind of agree. The ones I've seen are very enjoyable, and you should try to watch all of them, but there is not a must-see Fast and Furious movie. Ex Machina, on the other hand, is definitely a must-see. That one has taken the sci-fi loving world by storm and is considered one of the great movies, so that one definitely goes on the list. Monkey Kingdom. Oh, narrated by Tina Fey. That's fun. Age of Adeline. I wanted to see that one. Alright. Avengers Age of Ultron. Good movie. It's not a must-see. I think we all agree with that one. But it's weird because we're going to get into must-see territory later, but they're only must-sees if you've seen the other ones. It's actually kind of an interesting thing that I've been thinking about, where there's some movies like Empire Strikes Back that are absolute must-sees. They're incredible movies, but would they be good movies without the groundwork laid by the sequel? It's an interesting thing to consider because it's a really good movie and it cuts out all of that getting to know the characters stuff because the director already assumes that you do. But so would it be good if you haven't seen the original? It's weird. But in the case of Empire Strikes Back, you can't find anyone who hasn't seen the original or the first one. Love and Mercy. I've heard, maybe not must see, but I've heard this is a really good movie. It's been on my list for a little while and I want to watch it. Okay, Inside Out is a must-see movie. The fact that Citizen Kane and Saving Private Ryan did not win Best Picture. It's considered two of the biggest slights in Oscar history. I think the fact that Inside Out was not nominated for Best Picture is the biggest slight in Oscar history. In my opinion, Inside Out is one of the greatest movies ever made. Like I said earlier, Ratatouille is my second favorite Pixar movie. For a while, it was my favorite. And then this one jumped so far ahead. It was ridiculous. I saw this movie twice. One with my wife, because I was married at this point, and newly married, and we were doing everything together, and it was great. But I saw it a second time. My wife was actually out of town, and shout out to Chance. And we went on a guy date, and we went to see Inside Out, a Pixar movie together. And so I saw this one twice in theaters, and Inside Out. It is personal, I will admit, but man, it touched me, and in a way that a lot of movies do not, and something about it still to this day. I adore this movie. I consider it to be incredible on a very deep level, and everyone should see Inside Out. Also, Michael Giacchino, it's one of his more understated soundtracks, and he did a very good job with it. I think Inside Out, or I think Ratatouille and Incredibles are more to his strength, because I want to hear Michael Giacchino write his I want him to write his Rhapsody in Blue, because you listen to those soundtracks and man, he knows how to write some jazz music. And so I would love to hear him write just a jazz symphony, and I think that'd be fantastic. It's a case in point, Ant-Man is not a must-see movie. I do want to see this one, Mr. Holmes. Have we covered? I'm trying to remember if Ian McKellen had been inside of had played Sherlock Holmes before, earlier. God, heaven knows, so many people had. Again, there's only one must-see Mission Impossible. You should watch the whole series, but only one, if you were only going to see one, is a must-see. Shaun the Sheep. Look up Shaun the Sheep if you've not seen any of those. They're great. It's a fun, like, modern Looney Tunes style series. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. This one falls into, I liked it, but I don't remember anything about it. And I do like Guy Ritchie. Great director. Knows how to do action, knows how to do comedy. I'd like to see him just do a straight comedy sometime. I think that would be kind of interesting. What is War Pigs? I don't know what that is. Intern, Robert De Niro, and Anne Hathaway. Martian. Okay, Martian. Yeah, that's a must-see movie. Really good. Matt Damon. I mean, forget Matt Damon. We expect Matt Damon to be good at this point, but man, Donald Glover, it's such a small part. I think he's in like 4 scenes, but he kills it so hard. That is a definite advantage, or a definite example of there are no small parts, only small actors, because he was not given much to do inside of that movie. But even my mom, who doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to that kind of thing, she came home from that movie, and she was talking to me about it. She said, it's so good, and that black guy who played like the scientist, he was so good. And he stood out to her in his tiny little part. So, yeah, Donald Glover, I feel like people are really starting to notice Donald Glover, especially in the past, 4 years. He's started to set himself up as being fantastic. Yeah, Hollywood, as Denzel Washington's getting older, I think he could fill that role. Although he's also so good at comedy. But, man, Donald Glover is a guy to look out for. He is so talented. We all love him. He's great. Cast him in more stuff. Our brand is chaos. I remember the cover for that one. It's a great cover. Yeah, look at that. That's a great poster. I keep saying cover because I'm so used to working at Blockbuster and I see DVD covers all the time. That's barely a thing anymore. All right, Peanuts movie is a must-see movie. That one, I don't know how well it did at the box office, but I don't think it did well enough. I have never seen a movie, an adaptation of something that was made with so much love. You could tell the director, the writers. I mean, two of the writers are Charles Schultz's kids, but you could just tell everyone loved Peanuts so much. The art style, they wanted to mimic the old animated series so well. The writing is pure Peanuts. It is an adorable movie that just really tugs on your nostalgic heartstrings, but also tells a brilliantly heartfelt story that celebrates both Snoopy and Charlie Brown. Not enough people saw the Peanuts movie, and it is so good. Please watch the Peanuts movie. Ugh. Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2? Ooh, nope. I didn't even see that one. Good Dinosaur? Oh, a Pixar movie that's not a must-see. I mean, we already experienced that with Brave, but yeah, this one is bad. Just flat out bad. Oh my gosh. Steve Zahn couldn't save this one. It's bad. The Big Short, a lot of people really like this one in many Adam McKay movies, but I don't think it's considered a must-see. Force Awakens, absolutely not, and I stand by that hardcore. Many people pretend this movie doesn't exist. A Tarantino movie that's not a must-see. I believe it might be his lowest rated. It's either this one or Jackie Brown. Both of those are not really as celebrated as their movies. This is also the point that we are really getting hard into the era of television, where movies just kind of fallen off at this point. See, did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Spectre's. I don't remember seeing Spectre on there, but it's not a must-see, so it doesn't matter. All right, so 2015, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, better than 2014, but still, I mean, definitely better than 2013. That was, and 2012. That was rough. All right. So, moving on to 2015. This is one of my longer videos, which is weird for a count of 7. Bye.